Yo, 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 this your boy Surrender, man, coming back at you, man, with one of the biggest topics that we want to talk about on the channel. And I know everybody is interested about building wealth, just along with health, and this is the channel for you to do it. So today we want to talk about something very, 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 very important for everybody in building wealth and building health. These are the 5 pillars of health and wealth. I like to call them the 5 doctrines or the 5 disciplines. And it's always about your behavior in these things, okay? So we're going to go through them, and then we'll see how they all link up and some of the differences and some of the comparisons, and then what it looks like in the end, okay? You ready? Let's get it. So in building wealth, one thing that we got to understand when we are trying to build wealth, all right? We got to understand, what are we trying to do differently? That's the first thing. Where are you trying to do differently from your current situation, your present situation? How do you want to move forward? And what we find is that in a lot of the most wealthiest individuals, they have very, very high disciplinary behavior in certain areas of life. And so this is why it is so important to understand the differences between maybe you and them, okay? How disciplined are you in your finances? What does this mean, financial discipline? All right, this means, are you in debt? Are you spending more than what you're bringing in? Okay, because normally a person who is undisciplined normally spends more than what they have. They normally has huge debt. And most likely when you have huge debt, you can't get any loans from the bank, right? And so you're kind of stuck in that circle because you know nobody would trust you with the money that you need to advance yourself out of the situation you're in. Okay? So that's an undisciplined person. But a disciplined person may be an individual here that once they get paid, they pay themselves first. And then they create a savings account, right? And then next thing you know, they create credit. All right? And then that credit creates capital. And then that capital creates cash flow. Okay? So that's a disciplined individual because they created a discipline, a plan. And so look at the video in the velocity banking. That is a discipline. All right? And that's what one of the disciplines you need to pick up. All right, now here, relational wise. This is a discipline. How trustworthy are you relational wise? Do you come through when you say you're coming through? Do you have integrity with the businesses that you do? A lot of wealthy people do business to business good, and they do business to customer very well. Okay? So this is what you need to understand. All right? How is your product? How much quality do you bring? How much professionalism? How much expertise do you bring to a subject matter? How disciplined are you in keeping strong relationships? Okay? For a lot of us, that's a bad area. But for some of the wealthiest people, they understand the importance of building strong relationships. Okay? Now, when you're talking about third, mental, all right? We're talking about wealth here. You have to have a strong mental. You have to understand that it's all about the law of averages. Everything is not going to always sell. Everything is not going to always be a yes. But if you stay disciplined, if you stay consistent, if you stay strong, if you keep researching and you keep developing as life goes, as time goes, and you keep creating and making your particular product or your idea bigger and better, you got to stay down with it. A lot of us who are undisciplined mentally will start something and will stop something, or we're big procrastinators, okay? And so you got to understand the differences between getting money and getting wealth, getting rich and getting wealth. It's a difference, okay? Now, fourth, we got your physical. A lot of people don't understand that the physicality aspect of building wealth. Well, you got to understand, you're building wealth. You're not building a job, right? On the job, you work 8 hours, but most people will tell you that when you're trying to run a corporation from root ground up, there may be some 16-hour days. There may be some 3-hour sleep days where you're just constantly putting in work. And you have to have a certain kind of physicality for that. And you have to understand that there are going to be times like that. And some of the wealthiest people in the world will tell you that there have been times like that. And a lot of us don't like times like that, and so we don't have that entrepreneurial understanding. right? Because we love the fact that we can do 40 hours and enjoy our weekends and, enjoy the rest of our days. But the entrepreneur understands the value of putting time into what they are trying to do as opposed to what society is allowing them to do, okay? So this is what you got to understand, the physicality. Are you down? Do you have it in you? And then here, spirituality in wealth. How does that happen? Well, first, the spirituality, even though it's the last on the list, it is far from the least on the list, okay? Spirituality in wealth means, what is your belief system? What is your foundation like? How do you believe? A lot of us believe that we should have an abundance and that we are blessed and that we should have an inheritance. And so what we do is, based on that foundational belief, we go by particular disciplines to make that happen for us in our lives. Me personally, I believe that this is the foundation, because if you can't be disciplined spiritually, then you may not be able to have the aptitude or the fortitude to be disciplined in all the other areas, okay? So spirituality is utmost, one of the fundamental things you need in wealth building. Now, when you're able to have a discipline in all 5 pillars or all 5 disciplines, right? And you're able to provide a balance, then you are now considered wealthy there. Now let's move over here to health. And let's look at what health does, okay? Now health, you need a psychological discipline. A psychological discipline, because there's so many different things out here that can cause us to be unhealthy. All right? And so right here, when it's talking about psychological, there's no different than being the mental capacity of building wealth. The psychological discipline of health has to be that you understand the importance of fasting, that you understand the importance of sometimes doing things in moderacy, that you understand the importance of dieting, understand the importance of exercising, understand the importance of being out in nature, whether it's the beach or whether it's walking through trails or this, that, and the third, but being outside. Understanding how psychologically disciplined are you when it comes to your health. And this is where a lot of people fail at, because this is the reason for a lot of our diseases of obesity and diabetes and all of these different diseases that we necessarily don't have to be dying from right now. Those are due to undisciplinary psychological issues. And once you can get this strong and be disciplined in that area, then there's a start. Now, how emotional discipline are you here? Emotional discipline. Are you dependent on others? Are you dependent on others? Or are you one of those people who understand who you are in life? Do you have a healthy emotional life? Or do you have to continue to depend on things? Food, for instance, all right? Drugs, for instance. These 2 areas, people who are undisciplined in these 2 areas tend to depend on others, food and drugs, okay? So we need to have some discipline here to where we can kind of get an understanding of what we're doing and why and who we are. Now, the physical aspect of health goes back to exercising and dieting. What are you physically doing to be disciplined in being a healthy person? Are you eating vegetables? Are you eating fruits? Right? Are you eating in portions? This is what this is about. Okay? Lifestyle. How is your lifestyle when it comes to health? Are you partying all the time? Are you working all the time? Because both of those extremities are unhealthy for the individual. So you need some discipline about your lifestyle. Okay, you have to make some lifestyle changes here, all right, in order to be healthy. Now, again, 5th, we have the spiritual aspect of health. A lot of people don't understand the spiritual aspect of health. Again, what is your fundamental understanding of life? Do you believe in the abundance, and do you believe in blessing? Because, again, you have to understand that in order for you to have any amount of success, you have to be here for that. You have to work for that. You see? And so having a complete balance of all 5 of these disciplines in health will create balance. Now look, when you come to the middle here, when you have both of these, when you have a discipline, What I mean by discipline is another word for a plan, an agenda. Don't just be out here just working and just eating and just consuming, right? What is your actual plan for building this? What is your actual plan for being here for the long haul? All right? And when you have these plans, you're going to be successful and you're going to have longevity. That is the result. And you're going to have an inheritance and you're going to have an empire. And the reason why I put empire there, because a lot of times we like to think, well, as long as I can leave them some money, it's okay. But if you never leave them the knowledge of how to maintain what you have worked your life for, then it'll all go down the drain. Because you did not leave the discipline that it took you to get to where you are. So we can't just leave down the money. We got to leave down the knowledge as well. And that is when you got an inheritance. And that's when you build an empire. Now here, a lot of us are trying to retire at 65. But that doesn't mean life ends there. And most of us, it says that Americans are living longer now than ever before. So now most of us here are dying around this age. You have to have enough money. A $250,000 medical bill is what they say you're going to have just for that. Now, do you have that in your 401k? Okay? This is the aspect that you got to understand. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that you need to be able to work longer because you're living longer. You need to be able to do that. And if you don't, they're going to force you anyway because retirement is moving up, right? So you have to be able to go the long haul now. But a lot of us are getting sick around this age, getting sick around 50, getting sick around 40, because we haven't been disciplined here. And you're not even been disciplined here, so you're halfway doing it here, and you're not even understanding this at all. And so what we're saying here in Leafofvitalessentials is that if we can get some disciplines here in these 5 areas of health and wealth from anybody, whoever you got to go to and look up, it doesn't necessarily have to be here, but anybody you go to, you need to find your disciplines. How to get through life psychologically, emotionally, physically, my lifestyle, spiritually. How does that help me health-wise, financially, relational, mentally, physically, spiritually? How would that help me build wealth? So that I can pass that art down from generation to generation. Man, I hope you guys understand that. I hope you guys get it, and I know you do. Leave comments. Please share the video, like, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate every one of you guys who have subscribed to the channel. You are my family. Continue to spread the word of love. I love you, and you know there's absolutely nothing you guys can do about it. Until next time, it's been your boy. Peace.